Hi, this is Soulgazer. So I finally got this pair, BYW X. So let's take a look at this together, as well as comparing this with the BYW. So I picked this up at Redwood, San Francisco. It's like a consignment store, and they had it for a pretty decent price, and it was at my price, at my size, so I had to pick these up. And it didn't come with a box, but they look pretty good. They said it was worn, and I haven't tried these on yet, but you can see some of the dirt that's stuck between the tracks. Anyways, let's take a look at the detail. So the design is very similar to the BYW. So it has a knit upper, and some of the stitching, embroidery, the piping around here, and has the same panel throughout. I think this is just one piece, and they just stitch on top of it for reinforcement, and another layer right here. And this part, it's like a vinyl, different type of fabric. And they also have this mesh on top, so it has different layers. I think this will be a little bit more stiffer than the other fabrics. And let me check this side. This side doesn't have a shoe tree. Yeah, so it's a little bit harder around this area. Feels like a elastic, rubberish texture. But this part is like almost like PK. I don't even know if this is PK or not. But yeah, it's a pretty stretchy fabric around here. But here, a little more enforced. And then on the side, it's a suede, just like the regular BYW. And they have the piping here as well. Gray. I don't think this is a 3M, but I'll check later. And the back, I don't know what kind of fabric this is. Pretty stiff, pretty hard. Also like a plastic rubberish texture with perforation, evenly placed. And nothing on the other side. And I actually like this pull tab better. And here's the inside. They do have more reinforcement on the inside. There's like a plastic piece, so it's pretty hard, and it's covered with double layer mesh. And I think this is a plastic. Yeah. And this area is not a rubber, it's just a tape, so it won't stretch. Same thing here. Yep. And there's no branding on the inside. So let's look at the midsole and outsole. So Adidas branding on the toe. So the inside, it's purple. That's how it looks. And on the outer side, it's like this cream translucent midsole and outsole. Slightly different color between the midsole and outsole. The midsole is a little bit more whiter than the outsole. Also, it's a little bit more yellowish. I'm not sure if this is because it's been worn, but it has a little different color to it. And that's the front side. And on the back, it's a black boost with black outsole. And in the middle, there's a plastic piece. And you can see the boost inside. It's right here. And right here. I think I can feel it here too. So it's very similar to BYW, but this is more of a performance based model, so they do have the difference in the opening. And I was afraid that this opening won't stretch enough, kind of like KD 8 or 9, KD 9, KD 10, KD 9. One of the KD, they have really tight opening, so I couldn't put my feet through, and I had an issue wearing them. Oh, and also Curry 4. But this knit area is extremely stretchy, so you shouldn't have issue wearing these shoes. I had to go up size for KD and Curry, but this one I was able to wear was true to size, and I have a really wide feet. And the laces are rope laces. The placement is a little bit different on the inside and outside. The inside is just a little thin yarn, but so the outside is a fabric, so it has more support. And on the tongue there's Adidas branding. Very subtle. So they have performance and original logo on it. Never seen this before. So let's compare this BYW X with the first BYW. So as you can see, they're the same size, but this one looks a little bit longer, mostly because of the shape. So this one is a little straight, but this one has a higher angle going up, so that makes it look like the performance one is a little bit more narrow or longer, whereas this one, it looks a little more fat and bulky. And with the boost, it's about the same. So the big difference is the performance one has a shell on it. So the regular BYW is just an open boost, whereas this one, it has a, I think it's more for support, so it doesn't have too much cushion, but there's a casing here. And yeah, same thing on the outside, they have the casing. And the color of the boosts are different too on the back, but I believe they did this for some other BYW model, so it's not just for the X, but just in general. So with the outsole, this is the level 1. It's been worn, so it's pretty dirty. I did clean them up several times. And this is the BYW X. So they use completely different material. The one on the top definitely has better grip on the floor, whereas this one is just a streetwear level. And for me, I won't be playing basketball with these, so it doesn't really matter. So I could have just gone on with this and I'll be fine. And maybe the amount of boost in here might be bigger on the level 1, because you don't need that much cushion I think it'll throw off balance if you have too much. And by looking at it, the white boost on the heel is definitely higher than the black one. So this is the level 1. This is the X. Where the curve starts, it's a little bit higher up here. And you know, this part doesn't really have anything to do with the cushion on the bottom, because this is more on the side. Yeah, it's slightly higher. The peak is a little bit higher on this one, but overall it's almost the same. It feels a little thicker on this part too, so it's probably heavier here. And I think same thing with the front too. I'm not sure how much boost is in this one because there's casing on it, but most likely it's gonna be smaller than that because you need space to put it in. And if you think about that, then probably the BYW level 1 has more to it. And the fabric that they use, this one's a little bit more stiffer, more supportive, whereas this one, it's definitely a lifestyle. This corduroy fabric does not give any support at all. And the placement of the lace is quite different. So this one, it goes randomly, or starts from here, here, it goes really low. I don't know why, but it goes really low and then goes up. I think it's fine, but if you're gonna play basketball, you need more support. So that's why they switched it to some more normal looking placement. And also the lace is a lot thicker on these compared to the BYW. It's almost double. And I think this gives more support too. So I had issue with this one being too thin. I feel like it came off really easily, as well as it got loosened easily too. And let's go to the back. So you can see the difference in width. This one is a lot more narrow compared to these. It's a lot wider, especially around the ankle area, the opening here. The issue I had with these, as much as I liked it being open, is that if I was worried that if you are going to play basketball with these, it's too loose around here. There's too much opening, but it works really well if you're sitting down, if you're working in office, or if you're going to school, sitting in a classroom all day. Having this opening here, this angle, easier on the leg, because you know it's more movable, and you could sit down and stretch your leg, and there's some wiggle space. But some of the high cut shoes like Jordans, it doesn't have this opening here, so when you sit down, it usually creases your collar or it hurts your feet or your leg. This one, this will keep your feet in place, whereas this one makes you move freely. A little too free sometimes. This one has a tape for a pull tab. It's a really strong one, but this one doesn't have any. There's nothing on the back, so you can see the seam, and it's just a flimsy string for a pull tab. And actually, for this pair, BYW level 1, this doesn't even need a pull tab because it stays open. It's actually pretty stable here. But on the other hand, this one, because it's a knit opening, you have to be able to pull so you can put your feet inside. And now on the inner side, so for the level 1, the loophole is the same. It's just a little yarn but on the performance, it's actually a tapier. And this is a lot more stable than having this one. So the issue that I really had trouble with was these are the laces being too loose, because it doesn't get hooked anywhere. It's so loose. It actually it gets too loose easily, and once you unlace your lace, it opens up really wide, and you have to like really pull to make sure it's secured. So I do have to have my laces pretty tight, and this guy didn't work out too well in that sense. But this one, I tried this on at first. It's not bad. It definitely has more support to it, and it's a lot easier to wear. So let's compare the front. So the tapier, the elastic band, it's straight and it's also narrow, but this one, it's actually slanted and it's a little bit more wider. And the fabrics, this one feels soft. This one is soft too, but it feels slightly different. And then on the inside part, it has this rib knit, but this one has the same type of fabric with the reinforcement, whereas this one there is no reinforcement around the toe area. And this stitch right here, this guy and this guy, it's pretty much the same. I think they're about the same thickness. And here, this one, the performance one, there is no tongue. They're like a sock type, so they're all connected. And there's also a ribbon here too, so you can see that it will stretch out. So if you're gonna play basketball, you probably have to lace in pretty tightly so your feet doesn't move inside the shoes. Whereas this one, your feet will go all over the place inside the shoes. And so far, so I wore this, and I'm not sure if you watched the video for this one, for the level 1, but I had an issue with the insole, and I took it out, I replaced it with another one, and I've been trying to work it out. And it still hurts a little bit if I don't put any extra insole in it. But on this one, it actually works out better. This one doesn't have any problem. My feet doesn't hurt, and it's a lot easier to move. Maybe because it's a lot more tighter fitting, it keeps my feet in place so it doesn't wiggle inside the shoes. So it works well. Whereas this one, it's so loose that my feet might be shifting everywhere while I'm wearing them or walking on them, and maybe that was one of the reasons that was causing the problem. So this one, definitely a performance level, and I'm not sure what the retail price is, but I'm sure the BYW the X will definitely be more expensive. And by the way, this guy, it's on sale right now. You probably could get this at $100 or less if you find a good deal. So it's worth having it. I do like it. It's just, if I think about the comfort level, can't beat this. And this is what Swaggy P wears, so I definitely needed to have this. So how do you feel about this pair? Let me know in comment below. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well as liking the video. Thanks for the support. See you next time.